Hey there! Today we're diving into one of the world's oldest civilizations, Mesopotamia. Let's go! What was Mesopotamia? Mesopotamia is often called the cradle of civilization. That means it was one of the first places where people built cities and worked together in big groups. It started over 5,000 years ago in what is now Iraq and parts of Syria, Turkey, and Iran. The name Mesopotamia means land between rivers because it was between the Tigris and Euphrates Rivers. These rivers helped people grow food and build strong communities. The land and the rivers. The land in Mesopotamia was great for farming, thanks to the rivers. The rivers flooded sometimes, which made the soil rich and perfect for growing crops like wheat and barley. But the floods were hard to predict, so people built canals and irrigation systems to move water where they needed it. The land was flat, which made farming easier, but it also made cities easier to attack. Civilizations come and go. Many powerful groups lived in Mesopotamia, like the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. The Sumerians made the first cities and invented writing. A Babylonian king named Hammurabi made one of the first sets of laws. But over time, other groups, like the Persians, took over, and the old cities lost their power. How they were ruled. Each city in Mesopotamia had its own king. These kings said the gods gave them the right to rule. Cities often fought each other over land and water. People were divided into groups. Kings and priests were at the top, then came merchants and farmers, and slaves were at the bottom. Hammurabi's laws helped keep things fair, or at least tried to. Everyday life. Most people in Mesopotamia were farmers. They lived in houses made of mud bricks and wore clothes made from wool or flax. They ate bread, vegetables, and drank beer. Markets were busy places where people traded things like pottery, jewelry, and tools. Religion and beliefs. People in Mesopotamia believed in many gods. They thought these gods controlled things like the sun, rain, and crops. Each city had big temples called ziggurats to honor their gods. Priests did rituals to keep the gods happy. If something bad happened, like a flood or drought, they thought the gods were angry. Stories and legends. Mesopotamians had amazing myths and stories. One of the most famous is the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's about a king who goes on a journey to find eternal life. It even has a flood story that's a lot like the one about Noah's Ark. Art and buildings. Mesopotamians were great artists and builders. They made statues, carvings, and pottery. They also built huge temple towers called ziggurats. These looked like giant step pyramids and were made with mud bricks and bright tiles. Writing and learning. Mesopotamians invented one of the first writing systems. It was called Cuneiform, and they wrote on clay tablets with a sharp stick. People called scribes went to special schools to learn how to write. They kept track of laws, stories, and business deals. Big ideas and inventions. Mesopotamians invented things we still use today, like the wheel and the plow. They created a calendar based on the moon and were really good at math and studying the stars. This helped them figure out the best times to plant crops and travel. Trade and money. Mesopotamia didn't have everything it needed, so they traded with other places. They gave grain, wool, and pottery in exchange for metal and precious stones. Their rivers helped move goods easily, and their land was a perfect spot for trade between different groups. Battles and fights. City-states in Mesopotamia often fought each other. They battled over land and water. Soldiers used chariots, bows, and spears. One famous war happened between the cities of Ur and Lagash. Later, the Assyrians became famous for their powerful army. Famous people. Hammurabi was a well-known king from Babylon. He made one of the first law codes. Another famous person was Gilgamesh, a legendary king whose adventures were written down in stories. Why Mesopotamia still matters. Mesopotamia gave us so many things: writing, laws, farming techniques, and more. Their ideas spread to other places and still shape our world today. Their work in math and astronomy still amazes scientists. That's a wrap on Mesopotamia. Thanks for listening and stay curious. Check out more of our ancient adventures and I'll see you in the next one.